Hey, Hans from Request for Music here, and I have a new module. That means I had in the original F Syn bundle, I had an F Records sampler, which was a mono sampler with some added effects and stuff like that, which wasn't, yeah, not the real sampler that I had in mind. So I created a new sampler, which is a stereo version. So here it is, samples, and it has a left and right input. Of course, it has a gate input, it has a pitch input, it has 8 modulation inputs, and in the modulation inputs there's a whole list of things that you can modulate. So you can um, sorry, still the flu. So you can change the speed, the play in point, play out point, crossfade, and a whole lot of other things that you can do with it. And so those are all the 8 modulation inputs on the top. On the right, there's all kinds of buttons. The record button, if you want to decide for yourself where you want to record or where you want to start recording. Otherwise, you can use your auto button to change that. There's a play button, of course, to play the sample. There's a merge, a load, and a save to load or save your sample that is recorded. There's a ping pong button, an envelope button, and a slice button. And for the rest, there's all kinds of knobs for to zoom in on your sample, to scroll through the sample, to change the buffer. The buffer is now at 5 seconds, which is the default, but you can go up to 60 seconds to a minute. So if you just go to the default, it will return to those 5 seconds. If you load a sample, a wave file which is larger than 5 seconds, it will adjust the buffer to accordingly to change to that size. If it's smaller than the 5 seconds or any size that you have set on your buffer, it will have empty values on the end. It will not change directly. The only thing to do that would be by shift loading. So if you press normally, if I would set this to a larger size, something like this, and I do a load, and I go into the folder that has some samples in. So I take one, and as you can see, it now loads the sample. The sample is smaller than the actual size of the buffer, so it keeps the buffer at that size and just puts in that sample. If you shift load, however, and I take the same one, it will change the size to that sample. So that's one thing of working with it. Then, of course, I can take my left and my right output, and I'll put those into my delay and have it play. So this is it, and it's pretty low in volume. There it is. Oh, this is also, hang on one sec, this is a bit too low. And of course there's the option to play this, so if I take my pitch into the pitch output, something like that. To have it a bit more playable, there's also an envelope in there, so I can actually take the gate in here as well and switch on the envelope, and it will use the settings. Something like that. And that's for the sample itself. So I'll have it. I'll keep it playing. It is a stereo sample, but a stereo sampler. But if there's a mono sample in there, you can actually change the offset of the channels and the width a bit to change the size, even if it's a mono sample. And otherwise, you'll just take that back. Of course, there is a zoom value in there, so you can zoom in and scroll through the full sample if you want, and that's especially there for your in and your out points, because you can set your in and your out points, and it will start looping that in between that, depending on where you have your loop or your how you have your mode set. Because the mode has a loop setting, it has a one shot, and it has a gate loop. So that means that gate loop would start off at the beginning and then loop in this as long as you have a gate in there. So if I go back to my loop setting and start playing again, it now goes from the loop from start to end point. And there's a crossfade, so if I change this, it will try to crossfade those points from those in and out points from that loop to make it sound better, of course. Of course, there's, except for this offset and width, there's a speed, so I can change the speed and I can go all the way down, so I go backwards. And I can go from 0 up and down to 4 times the original speed, so I could set it like this. Or set it really slow like this. Next to the ADSR and stuff like that, I have the balance. Since it's stereo output, I can still change the balance of that signal. And during recording, I can have the monitor setting on. And except for that, there's obviously a whole a master level for everything. Then, apart from that, there's a section as, yeah, well, to say it's filters, it's a bit too more, or effects would be too much, but there's a saturation in there to define that a bit. There's a low pass filter, so I can dial that completely back if I wanted to, or change the high pass filter up and maybe change the Q factor to do stuff like this if I wanted to. Except for all of this, I have a slice mode. So I have, of course, a ping pong mode. So if it is at the end of the sample, it will go backwards, and so I could have something like this. But apart from that, I'll switch that off and I'll switch my slices on, and I'll take my in and my out points all the way. So I have this, and you see that I have a slice. I have 8 slices selected at the moment, but I can actually go from 2 slices up to 16 slices if I wanted to. And those slices, so say that I have 4 slices, for instance, I can actually just click in a section to change that. So let's take another kind of sample to make more obvious what happens. So I'll do a shift load, and I'll load, let's see, this one, which is speech. I need to switch my play on, of course, and I have all of this. So,
wait, what are you talking
of course, I
about?
want to fine-tune all of the settings for my my samples. So I need to zoom in,
Wait,
and
what are you talking about?
my first sample
I
is
met my
starting
teacher.
here, and my
Manna from
second
heaven
sample
to me.
is here on the side. I can just drag on this and
Thinking there
drag
is
it to the
nothing
side
inside as you
to
catch the
have that
scent.
set better. So
Breathing deeper,
let's do that for
it's
this one as
heaven
well.
sent
That's the end
just
point of 2,
there.
but the beginning of 3. So
Thinking there is
I'll change
nothing
that
to
to this point.
compare.
Maybe zoom out a
Sipping
little,
from it, the
scroll
taste,
further,
just
and
what
take
about?
this section
I met my
as
teacher.
number 4 and zoom
Manna
out
from
again. So I've
heaven
got
to
these
me.
sections.
Wait,
So
what are you
now, of
talking
course,
about?
it's just
I
going
met
to
my teacher.
repeat a slice until
Manna
I
from heaven,
click in
heaven
another
sent.
one. So I can
Sigh,
just go
where
through that. So
heaven to
if you're
meet.
performing
Bringing
something and you
color,
have a couple of drum sections set up, you can
first
just click
there's
in the
that
specific
fickle
section, and we'll
beat.
just go on playing that
Bringing
section
color,
until
just
you click in
there.
a new one.
Thinking
That
there is
is, of
nothing to
course,
compare.
unless you start
Sipping
modulating,
from it,
because
the
on the bottom
taste,
I have my next slice,
just
previous
there.
slice, and
Thinking there is
in case you
nothing
need
to
it, a random
compare.
slice. So if I
Sipping
take
from
an
it,
LFO,
the
for instance, and
taste,
I'll take my
just
um,
there.
my inverse sawtooth,
Thinking
my
there is
ramp,
nothing
and
to
I'll put
compare.
that into the input
Sipping
here, and
from
I'll
it,
take
the
a
taste. Wait,
random slice.
talking about
Now this is going to
first my
change
teeth.
which of those slices are played,
Breathing deep.
according to the
It's
tempo of
heaven sent
this, of
air.
course. Yes, so I can do that and use my crossfading,
Heaven to me
which it does
sent.
for
Bringing
every
color.
sample or every
Just
slice that it
bringing
reaches.
color. Going deep.
So I can do that.
There.
So let's go
Peace I
through.
teach. The sipping from it. There's that little socket of it's
And of course, the more samples or the more slices you use, the more interesting it can become. Um, Apart from all of these things, I also have input, of course, for stuff like speed. So if I want to change this, I can, and also for stuff like high pass filter and things like that. So if I take this into my third one and go to my high pass filter, and I'll dial this up a bit and take my Q factor up, I'm already really, yeah, changing the way that full sample will sound. So yeah, that's actually what the sampler is about. It has even a gate output, and the gate output is not the same as the gate input. It's triggered once you reach a new loop or slice point. So I could actually take this out to drive some other stuff. So for instance, if I put this into max, it would now, um, oh, I should probably put it in this. It will change some stuff in there. Let's see, I'd need some output, right? Otherwise the module doesn't work. It is now driving the random setting for this max according to the to the slice that is played, because then it generates a gate, and the gate is used to drive something else. So that's the kind of thing that you can do. So it lends itself to performances and also to experimental stuff that you could do. So I think it is a major improvement to the original records module that I had in the FSyn bundle. So it's not straight into the FSyn bundle. It's a separate module again. So I hope you like that, and I'll probably see you back in the next video, because I'm doing some stuff in um, that actually or go a bit further than the max module, separate modules for other sort of organic kind of stuff. So I hope to see you in the next one. So cheers for now. Bye bye.